Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's YouTube tutorial. And it's all about so, to, either, and neither, which are words we use when we are agreeing with someone or sharing the same idea as someone. And I want to start by telling you that there are a couple of ways to agree with someone or to share the same idea as someone. We're going to look at two ways: the short way and the long way. And with the short way, there's a couple of options. With the long way, there's really only one or two. So we're going to start by looking at positive ideas that we agree with. So a positive idea is anything with a positive structure. So I like, I want, I need. If somebody says a positive idea and you want to agree with them or share the same idea with them, then there is a particular structure that you should use. So we'll start by looking at the short response, where there are two options: the easy option and the slightly more difficult option. So the easy option is to simply say, "Me too." The more difficult option is to use the word so, and then the auxiliary verb, maybe that could be do or am or have or some other options, and then the subject, I. So do I, so am I, so have I. Now, you might be saying, well, if there's an easy option and a more difficult option, I think I'm always going to use the easy option. That's fine, you can do that. But the more difficult option is very common, and it's quite good to use it sometimes. Maybe it's a bit more expressive. Maybe it emphasizes your point a bit more. So do I. So let's take a look at some examples. If I say, "I love chocolate," how can you respond to that? If you agree, of course. Well, like I said before, we've got those two options for the short response. The easy option, "Oh, me too, I love chocolate." Or the slightly more difficult option. So it's "I love chocolate," so the response should be, "So do I." And we use do because that is the auxiliary verb for a present simple idea. You know this because what's the question? The question is, do you like chocolate? The answer is yes, I do, or yes, I like chocolate. So we use that word do in this short response. So do I. Another example, "I am so hungry." And you want to agree with this or share the same idea. So again, the easy option, "Me too." The more difficult option, "So am I." This time it's not "so do I," but "so am I." Now let's look at negative ideas. So a negative idea is anything with a negative structure. For example, "I don't have," "I don't like," "I haven't had," anything like that. That is a negative structure. And so with these, we don't use it in the same way as with positive structures. Again, we have those two options for short answers: the easy option and the more difficult option. So the easy option is "me neither." And the more difficult option is neither, and then the auxiliary verb, do, for example, and then the subject. So it's really exactly the same as with the positive, except we replace the word so with neither. So do I, neither do I. Let's look at some examples. "I don't want to go to the park." Well, what's the reply here if you agree? The easy option, "Me neither." The more difficult option, "Neither do I." Again, we use do because that's the correct auxiliary verb to use. Neither do I. And now let's look at an example using a different tense, maybe the past tense. For example, I didn't watch the game last night. So how do you respond to this if you share the same idea? Well, the easy option, me neither, that's always the case. It doesn't matter what the tense is, present tense, past tense, future tense, it doesn't matter. But the more difficult option, well, it's neither did I. This time it's did, because the question or the idea is all about did or didn't. I didn't watch the game last night, neither did I. And let's look at an example in the present perfect tense and how we use that. For example, I have been to Portugal a few times. You respond to this, again, the easy option, me too, because it's a positive idea. But if you use the more difficult option, what's the auxiliary verb? Well, it's have. So, have I. I have been to Portugal a few times, so have I. Now let's take a look at the long response. So we've seen the short response, but what about the long response? Well, this is, I think, a bit simpler. You just have to repeat the idea, or most of the idea, and then add the correct word to the end of the sentence, depending on whether it's a positive idea or a negative idea. If it's a positive idea, we add the word to at the end. And if it's a negative idea, we add the word either. Not neither. Neither is for short responses. Either is for long responses. For example, I wasn't happy either. Not I wasn't happy neither. You could say me neither, neither was I, but not I wasn't happy neither. It's I wasn't happy either. And with a positive sentence, I saw the storm too. Now, I've used to at the end. I saw the storm too, but there are other options. You can say I also saw the storm, or I saw the storm as well. Both of these are possible. But note the positioning of those words. With to and as well, we put them at the end of the idea. I saw the storm too. I saw the storm as well. Whereas with also, we put it just before the main verb. I also saw the storm. Okay, so a quick recap. If it's a positive sentence and you have a short response, you've got two options. You could say me too, which is the easy response, or you can say so, and then the correct auxiliary verb, do, for example, have, and then the subject, I in this case. So do I, so have I. With a negative idea, again, you've got these two ideas. The easy response, me neither, and the more difficult response, neither do I, or neither have I, or neither am I. With a long sentence, you put that correct word at the end, depending on whether it's positive or negative. For a positive sentence, it's to, and for a negative sentence, it's either. One more thing to look at before we finish, and that's the word nor. We can use the word nor instead of the word neither for those short answers. So neither do I, we can also say nor do I, but that's the only time we can use it in this context. I generally prefer to use neither, but the word nor is perfectly correct as well. Okay, so is that grammar point clear to you now? Hopefully now you understand how to correctly agree with someone or share the same idea with someone, whether it's a positive idea or a negative idea. So thank you for watching today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, then make sure you click like and comment if you have any questions or thoughts. about today's video, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. It's a really good way of supporting free language learning on the internet. Have a great day and a great week, and I'll be back with another tutorial next week.